What's up, movie crew? It is that time. Once again, the time where I share what I watched for each month. Now, just like the previous month, I did partake in the interactive month that Mid-Level Media was doing. I will have links as a pinned comment down below, so go give him a subscribe if you haven't already, which would be kind of surprising because most of you probably know me through some of the larger channels anyway. Anyway, this month was a month of Hitchcock. And if you have seen some of my previous videos, and you know that I spent a good portion of last year trying to get all of the Hitchcock Criterion movies on top of the stuff that I already owned. Now, I will be honest, this stack is a little bit smaller than I was hoping it to be, but I did watch some Hitchcock for the month of May. Alright, so the first thing is not necessarily a Hitchcock movie, but got a lot of stuff going on, long story short. Need something that was a little bit shorter in runtime, and at an hour and 36 minutes, I watched Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins and Helen Mirren. So this movie is about the making of Psycho and the hurdles that Hitchcock had to go through for Psycho to be made. This is a really good movie. I highly recommend checking it out. Everything that I have seen about what's in here compared to some of the real life stories from some of the people on set, it matches up for the most part. There's a couple little small things here and there, but Psycho was made in the 60s, and this movie was made in 2012. So I rewatched this. It's still enjoyable. Anthony Hopkins, he's not Alfred Hitchcock, but he does a good job at trying to do the voice of Hitchcock that you always hear at the beginning of the Hitchcock Presents episodes. Alright, another one. I bought this one from a sale a while back, and I told myself I was going to watch it, and I finally had a reason to sit down and watch this, and I loved it. And that is Lifeboat. It is weird saying this about a Hitchcock movie, but when you think Hitchcock, you're probably thinking Psycho, The Birds, Vertigo, one of those. So it's kind of weird when you see a classic like this and it's considered underrated. Like, it's weird that I'm calling it underrated because it's still a classic. It's a well-known movie. But given the other movies the director made, this one doesn't get the acknowledgement that it should. Highly recommend checking this one out. The master of suspense is in full suspense with this movie. Alright, the next one, I am also going to be giving a possible unpopular opinion here. The original version of The Man Who Knew Too Much. For those that don't know, Alfred Hitchcock remade this movie during his Hollywood years with James Stewart and Doris Day. I think this version's better. It's got everything it needs to. The remake, it felt a little bit longer, and it felt some of the scenes were just being dragged out. This one, it just pretty much goes nonstop from beginning to end. And I like that. Not to mention the villain in this movie I thought was better than what we got in the remake. I was going to do an original versus remake, but I didn't realize how close I was to the end of May. But long story short, I did watch both, but this one is the better movie. Notorious. Alright, I'm going to be honest. Probably one of my least favorite movies I've watched this month. I had to watch it in 2 sittings. This movie did not connect with me the way the other movies I have watched have connected with me. Long story short, it was to the point where I tried twice to watch it and fell asleep, and I had to just say, all right, I'm going to watch half of it this night, and then I'm going to watch the other half the next night. Now, watching it in 2 40 to 50 minute intervals wasn't bad. Me trying to watch the entire thing all at once, it felt a little slow for me. But it is a Criterion, so there are people that clearly love this movie. I'm just not one of them, and no offense to anyone who does enjoy this movie. To Catch a Thief. And I have the Paramount Presents version. So, I like this one more than Notorious. And yes, I'm aware that this is a classic. I can't say I enjoyed it as much as everyone else does. And I don't know who is to blame on this, but there's a couple of times where the score made it sound like we were at the end of the movie and we weren't. And that messed with me a couple of times because it happened 2 or 3 times in the movie where just the sound of the score was like, this movie's over already? I know it's a shorter movie compared to some of the other Hitchcock things, but it can't be over. I was 40 minutes in. So, not a bad movie, but for me, the score was to the point of being distracting, and it took me out of the movie, and when I thought I was at the end, I wasn't, and it kind of made the actual ending a little bit of a drag. "39 Steps." Once again, like the original Man Who Knew Too Much, I'm kind of liking the older Hitchcock stuff because it's shorter, it goes nonstop. And yes, I know he was known for the big build-up, but that's still in both these movies. So, next Criterion Sale, I would recommend picking this one up. It is definitely worth the watch. I don't want to say pick it up right now because I'm assuming it's not on sale, and I'm pretty sure people that prefer the Hollywood Hitchcock movies might not like this one. Me, on the other hand, I thought it was pretty good. And speaking of Hollywood Hitchcock, Vertigo. I love this movie. It is weird for me because obviously I wasn't alive when this was in theaters, but hearing that this movie wasn't exactly appreciated when it first came out baffles me. I know what I said before about how much I like the older Hitchcock stuff, and some of the people that like the Hollywood stuff might not like that stuff. Just because I was praising the earlier stuff does not mean that I hate the Hollywood stuff. And this movie is great. There is a reason this is one of his most known movies to the birds and Psycho. Like if someone were to ask, name 5 Hitchcock movies, this is going to be one that's going to get named almost every time. And it has earned that right. I'm not really going to say too much beyond that because this is one of the more well-known movies. But check it out if you haven't. And there is a standard 4K version. I think it's on sale at the moment, so go check it out. I have one more left, and I'm going to go on ahead and spoil it for everyone. It is not Psycho. Yes, I watched a movie about how Psycho was made. I chose not to watch Psycho because I knew that that one was going to get watched by everyone participating in a month of Hitchcock. However, Hitchcock's second most known movie is my favorite Hitchcock movie. And that is The Birds. Yes, I am aware that the special effects are kind of dated and not that great. The suspense in this movie and what they go through in this movie is so amazing and done well. I enjoy this. Every time I watch it, I enjoy it. There's a reason that there's people like myself that if they don't say that Psycho's their favorite, that The Birds is probably their favorite, there's a reason why. This movie delivers. There is a standard 4K version. There's a Blu-ray version. The Blu-ray version is probably dirt cheap at the moment because of the 4K version being out now. You have no excuse to not check this movie out. It is worth it. But that is everything I watched during a month of Hitchcock. So huge shout out to Mid-Level Media for naming the month of May a month of Hitchcock, because I definitely wanted to get through some of these movies. A couple of these were first time watches for me. I've had quite a few of these in my collection for a few months now. Yeah. But that's going to do it for this one. If you were new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. There's a giveaway coming up very soon for my subscribers. If you like what you see, leave a thumbs up. Comment down below, what movies did you watch during a month of Hitchcock? Also, what is your favorite Alfred Hitchcock movie? But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching and tune in next time.